This is the GenWhy Leaders Podcast. Welcome to the GenWhy Leaders Podcast, where we guide millennials to become the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Eric Hughey, and multiple times a month, we bring you interviews from high-performing millennials who are challenging perceptions and changing expectations of our generation. Our mission is to help you overcome fear, take action, and go confidently in the direction of your dreams. It's time to start preparing now, mainly because 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day, which will create a vacuum of career opportunities that you've been waiting for. Will you be ready? Hey everyone, it's Eric Hughey, founder and host of the GenWhy Leaders Podcast. Coming to you solo today, no interview, but just super excited that we made it to 50 episodes. As I mentioned in the previous episode regarding our GenWhy Leaders Awards, I wanted to take this milestone episode of 50 episodes and kind of re-explain our mission of the podcast, where we've been for 50 episodes and where we're headed for another 50. If you're a listener of the podcast, you know that we really set off on a mission to record 100 episodes to guide millennials become the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. Of course, this is a lofty aspirational goal for any generation and one that any generation should focus on. But I firmly believe that in our mission, because of two things. One being that there is really an over concentrated focus on consumption and not as much on leadership development, especially between the generations. So right now, I think there's way too much focus on consumerism. For instance, I always see being in marketing, I always see the reports of, especially right now, Gen Z. What social media platforms are they on? How long are they spending on TikTok? What disposable income do they have? Where do they want to live? Things like that really focus too much on getting their dollars versus creating the next generation of leaders to run these companies. And then secondly, there's this term going around called the silver tsunami. And what that refers to is 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. So not 10,000 a year, not 10,000 a month, not 10,000 a week, 10,000 every single day from now well through 2030. And so obviously that's going to create a ton of opportunity for millennials, not only in the corporate sector, but also in the entrepreneurial sector. And so there's kind of three key points that I've thought of that have really come to fruition as I've talked to more people. And so I'll share those with you now. But again, corporate sector, entrepreneur sector. Within the corporate sector, there's going to be a ton of opportunity for advancement, right? Think of those 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. So it's just going to create this void at the leadership level, whether that be, I always use the threshold manager level and above. So manager, director, C-level, et cetera, et cetera. You can go back and listen to episode 4 with Marie Baldwin or episode 12 with Ryan Malik. In each of those, we talk about kind of the importance of developing skill sets that allow you to, quote unquote, climb the corporate ladder. Secondly is this idea of succession planning within the corporate sector. I don't think it's occurring much, to be honest. And if you go back and listen to episode 40 with Matt Moylan, he would agree with me and share my thoughts. But really, there's not that succession planning going on with older generations, Gen X, and again, primarily baby boomers in the silver tsunami, who are retiring out and pretty much just looking at the clock, looking at the door, waiting to retire and basically hand over the keys and say, good luck, kid. There's not enough generational shift in knowledge of, hey, we need to keep this profit margin because of X, Y, Z. We don't pursue this industry because of this. We don't sell this product because of that. And I don't think that's really going on right now as far as a training and development idea or mindset for young leaders. And then third, with those two first components combined, there's obviously going to be a lot of different managerial styles and things like that. Primarily, I think autonomy and a work schedule, right? I think the 8 to 5 schedule is very industrial revolution focused as far as clock in, clock out, not so much get the work done when you have time or based on your time management skills. And I think there also have to be a lot more empathy from millennial managers who are quote unquote taking the helm, right? There is less and less work-life, quote unquote, work-life balance. I think especially with things like COVID happening and everybody's working from home, the lines between work and personal life are very much blurred. So I think millennial managers and above really need to get to know their employees at a very, very personal level, to know what's going on in the personal life, to understand dips or raises in performance and things like that. So again, within the corporate sector, opportunity for advancement, succession planning, and overall different managerial styles, things to be aware of and things we really want to get the word out, spread awareness about with this podcast. Now for the entrepreneurship kind of vertical. Again, 3 key bullets, very similar to the corporate vertical of things we've learned, things we want to spread awareness about. One being plain and simple, just starting a business. I think a big reason why I named the podcast is because, again, that's GenWhy, WHY, kind of a double entendre, but it's, we are a very purpose-driven generation, and we don't want to sit around at a corporation. Most of us, I won't speak for everyone. I would say a majority of millennials don't want to sit around at a corporation for 40 plus years and just wait on, gold watch and a handshake. We want to pursue our aspirations, the things we felt called to do. So for inspiration on that, go back to listen to episodes 6, episode 2, and episode 18. 6 is Chris Myers of Crane Brewing. 2 is Logan Freeman of Live Free Investments. And 18 is Andy and Lucy Rieger of J. Rieger & Co., all here in Kansas City. And then secondly is buying a business. This, I think, is going to be one of the biggest concepts to come out of this podcast, but especially on the outskirts or on the wave, the silver tsunami, from 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. There's a stat out there of what, 90% of businesses fail within the first 10 years. So I think for those millennials who are really career-minded, business-minded, who have an entrepreneurial spirit, you can really skip that learning curve, those years of pain points, and kind of leapfrog the first 10 years and go buy a business that has 20, 30, 40, 50 years of client base, profitability, customer base, all that. And again, kind of leapfrog that growth curve or pain points. And I think it's where a majority of them will be is kind of in the B2B, blue collar, industrious type sectors. If you're looking for inspiration on this or more knowledge, go back and listen to one of our Mentor Month episodes with Dave Swab. That is episode 35. He has a wealth of knowledge on this topic. He helps people sell off their businesses. So he is kind of the perfect guy to go to about this. And he had a lot of valuable insights. So I think the stat from that episode is that there's about 9 million small businesses out there, and about half of those are owned by baby boomers. So, for instance, if there's, say, for example, like 20 small business that are, HVAC companies here in Kansas City, and say half of those are going to go away. So that really presents opportunity not only for the baby boomers to sell, but also for millennials to buy. And if you listen to that episode, there's plenty of creative financing opportunities. I think when people think of mergers and acquisitions, they think of these huge corporate Goliath companies and tech companies, software companies acquiring one another that are, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. But you can really go buy a company for several $100,000 and do owner financing models and things like that, where the owner's involved, and you kind of progress over time into taking that leadership position as the owner of a company. So again, kind of an overlooked topic as far as I'm concerned with this generational shift happening. You can go buy a very profitable business and skip the growth curve. And I think it's not really looked at because it's not quote unquote sexy. It's building an app or building software or anything like that. Not to frown upon that, but I think there's a huge opportunity to buy businesses again, especially in the B2B blue collar industrious type space. And then lastly, the last point in the entrepreneurship sector, whether you start a business or buy a business, I think you have to be very well educated in using marketing and technology. At a very base level, you should understand communications, social media, public relations, building a website, podcasts, for instance, and then just using those forms of technology and communication to leverage your marketing, your key messages, and to build your business. If you're looking for inspiration on this, go back to episode 8 with Kirsten Brown. She's got great ideas on what her school is doing with tech and innovation in general. Amy Jo Cochran, episode 10, talks about packaging your ideas, what you're passionate about, what you're skilled in, and making businesses and courses online. And then lastly, Ryan Malik, episode 12, in regard to climbing the corporate ladder. So again, just kind of recap the frame or outline of why we started the podcast. We want to guide millennials become the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. We see there's opportunity to do that because of two cultural trends. One being too much focus on consumerism and not enough focus on developing millennial leaders. And then 2, this idea of the silver tsunami in which 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every single day. That has effects on both the corporate sector and entrepreneurial sector. Corporate sector, there's going to be opportunity for advancement, succession planning, and varying or different managerial styles. And then within the entrepreneur sector, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to start new businesses. But again, I think a lot more opportunity to buy already established businesses and skip the growth curve and pain points. And then lastly, whether you start a business or buy a business, there's going to be a ton of opportunity to leverage marketing and technology knowledge and skill sets to grow your business. Again, very thankful and blessed to be able to have made it to 50 episodes. Again, we are going to be interviewing people that meet the criteria or framework I just talked about and really spread awareness and knowledge about how millennials can become the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. So that's our mission. If you have listened to this podcast and taken away any ideas, knowledge, tips, tricks, what have you, and use them in your career to, get that next leg up and climb the corporate ladder, or gone out and started a business, we would love to hear from you, and I'd love to interview. And then in addition to that, just want to say thank you. Thank you to all you listeners out there. I wouldn't be doing a podcast if people weren't listening. We've been very fortunate to have increased steady growth month over month. And so again, I'm very thankful for that. Be sure to like and subscribe to all our podcasting platforms, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, all those out there. But then also to all of our social media platforms. We are currently on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So again, be sure to check us out there, like us, and follow us. Special thanks to my wife, Cassie, who I have taken significant time away from to be able to pursue this. Podcasting is a very time-intensive process. For anyone who's tried that, you probably understand. And then secondly, I want to thank Jonathan Hale. He's been doing our social media for a majority of the time that I've started this podcast. He's done an excellent job and allowed me to really focus on the content and the guests. So again, thank you to all the people I just listed, and thank you especially to you listeners. Cheers to 50 episodes, and we look forward to 50 and hopefully well more. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. That wraps up today's episode. We hope to have brought you some valuable key takeaways. Most importantly, whatever you learned, take action on it. Apply it to your life. Apply it to your career. Motivation and inspiration only come as a result of taking that first step. So if you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe on whichever platform you found the show. You can also follow us on all the major social media platforms, or contact us directly at GenWhyLeaders@gmail.com. That's GenWhy leaders@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Eric Hughey, and thanks for listening to the GenWhy Leaders Podcast.